Hello, it's me again. I've decided to do a quick message. I was going to do one yesterday and then not yesterday, day before, and then it kind of went out of my head. And this happens a lot. We're going through some very interesting times at the moment. And I'll often sit here and think, oh, I must do a video on that. I must do a video about that and just share because I think it's really important that we connect with people that we resonate with. We connect with people that can hopefully raise our vibration and help us feel happy. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of worry and sadness going on around in this world, and I've seen it a lot in New Zealand. We've had some bumpy old roads to travel in this last few years, and a lot of people are still wrapped in fear. Um, I myself hit a really dark place on Sunday. I reacted to something that just came up out of the blue. A friend sent me something, and her intentions were pure, absolutely, and I know that. And I love this friend of mine. She is absolutely amazing. But she sent me on something Sunday, and for me, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I absolutely went into meltdown. Um, she was sharing something with me that is. There's so much stuff out there at the moment, of what we need to protect ourselves from, what might happen in the world with this or that, or or whatever. And it freaked me out. It really freaked me out because I would rather, and rightly or wrongly, there's no judgment here. We all do what we have to do, and that's the important thing. But I can only handle so much. I'm very, very sensitive to energy. I'm very sensitive to other people's energy, as well as my own, and what's out there in the in the universe, in cyberspace. And I have to be very careful to what I listen to, who I listen to, what I read, and I don't listen to the news. In fact, if you said to me today, oh, what's going on in the world, Chrissy? I have no idea. I actually have no clue. I can tell you that out of my window, I'm seeing a blue sky and a couple of beautiful big white fluffy clouds. I am seeing the ocean, which is a bluey grey because the sun's gone behind a cloud. I'm seeing that my lawn needs cutting. Oh, dilemma. That's my third world problem today. My lawn is too long. Oh, there's a blackbird on the deck and he or she it's a he's coming up towards the window to say good morning and say, come and feed me. Um, that's what's going on in my world. My washing machine's going. I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee. Um, the outside world, I don't know. I have a pact with my son. If something is about to give, if something is about to go on that I need to know about, that I need to pack up my car and get on the road and do something, or hide and lock my doors, or whatever the heck, he'll phone me. He'll phone me. And that's it. Beyond that, if the banks are crashing, the banks are crashing. If the financial system is fucked, then, well, it is anyway. We know it is. Can I do anything about it? No. What can we really do to protect ourselves? We can do what people are telling us from what they think we can do, but they've not had any experience of this. So, how the hell do they know? That's the way I look at it. Again, rightly or wrongly. But in this changing world, I think we all have to respect each other's feelings and space. And I think we have to know that I think there's possibly fear in many of us for one reason or another. And I think we have to be compassionate and realize that if somebody snaps at you, or if someone says something you don't like, it's not because it's not your fault. It's not because you're a bad person. It's probably because that person has had something happen to them on that day. You know, it's like even out and about in your cars. If you're driving along the road and somebody does something stupid and acts like a complete plonker, and believe me, there's a lot, especially here in New Zealand, there are some idiots on the road. But you might get up behind someone who's driving like super slowly in their own little world and they haven't got a clue what's going on outside them. And you might sit there getting really angry and your energy is getting frantic and not very nice. But you don't know what that person is going through. Maybe they've just been fired from their job. Maybe they've just had a call or a message to say that someone in the family has died, or they something. It can be anything. Maybe their animal is not well and they're worried about them. And when we have other things going on in our heads, we're not always rational. We don't always do what is expected of us by other people. So maybe we have to stop expecting too much of people, especially people we don't even know, because we don't know what's going on in their life. And I think it's important for us to try and be open to that and have a realization that, yeah. And it's just brought to mind something. I go into our local supermarket once a week. It's a 4 square supermarket. It's just a small space. The staff in there are absolutely lovely, mostly. But there are two ladies in that supermarket. One's been there for as long as I've been living here. Um, she's not a smiley person. She's not open and friendly. And sometimes I've gone in there when I've been not feeling great. And I feel really, really, I feel like she actually doesn't like me. And I get this vibe from her. And it's really uncomfortable. And I always try and smile and say hello. And I often don't even get a smile back. And sometimes I'll just think, oh, wonder what's going on in her life. I hope she has a really good day. And other times I think, stroppy cow, why is she being like that? What have I ever done to upset her? Isn't it interesting how we react to people based on where we are? And there's another lady in there who's relatively new. I've only seen her this year, let's say. And the first time I ever came across her, I thought I was in an okay space, but clearly I wasn't. And she was on the till and she was really she was quite fucking rude to me, actually. And I I prickled and I kind of challenged her. I didn't challenge her in a bad way. I can't remember what I said now, but I had an interaction with her and she was very, very defensive and she was, yeah, she, it was interesting. She was new, but she spoke to me like I was a tourist, and people that live in New Zealand and live in small towns that get tourists seasonally that breeze in and breeze out. A lot of tourists and a lot of the city people that come into these small towns can be quite, not all of them, but some of them can be quite stroppy and quite rude and quite up themselves. And she, and I don't think I was being up myself. I don't think I was being stroppy or rude. I thought I was just being, normal. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. So whatever the conversation was, it clearly it was prickly from both sides. And she was she was treating me like I was, as I say, a visitor, let's say, which she should have been even nicer, but she wasn't. She was really snippy. And I kind of responded to that. And as I say, I can't remember exactly what I said to her, but it between us there was this barrier then. Well, I haven't seen her a lot. She clearly only works on certain days. And I saw her last week, and I've seen her two, three times over the year, not a lot. Every time I see her, she doesn't look happy in her job. Let's just put it that way. She's just got this energy about her that is heavy. And I just take a wide berth now. I don't even, like with the other lady, I will actually make a point of smiling and say hello. Okay. Not that I get any response back, just a dirty look usually. It's like, what? I'm sorry, but I'm not really sorry. But this other lady, it's just like, you know what? I can't even be bothered. If I see her in an aisle and I'm feeling that energy coming off her, I'll just turn around and go down a different aisle and get what I need, and off I go. But yeah, isn't it interesting? And yet other people in that supermarket, everybody else, in fact, is just absolutely lovely. And I, you know, for the most part, I really enjoy going in there. The ladies that serve me on the till, they're friendly. There's a couple of them in particular. We end up having, you know, we have a laugh and a conversation. How are you today? You know, how's things going? And just normal. And it's great. It's great. But yeah. But anyway, so I was really just talking about people, energy, and how it is changeable. Um, and I know that I've had a lot of things go on in my life over the last few years that have, yeah, it would make the saints want to scream and swear. Um, and on those days, I've learned not to go out. I've learned to stay home. And if I'm struggling, it's like, do I really need to go to the supermarket today? Do I need to go into Coromandel today? Do I need to go anywhere? No, I don't. And I don't get many visitors, but occasionally someone will drop in and see me. If I'm in a really low space, I won't say bad, but a low space, if my energy is particularly low, I will actually go. I've got gates on my property. They're open almost all the time. But on the odd occasion, if I'm really not feeling great, I will go and close my gates. And that way it's just like a little barrier for people to think, okay, this is unusual. The car's there, the gates are closed. And it's, yeah, I think we just do what we do to cope. And it's about recognizing that energy. And that's what's going on a lot in the world today. And I think too, I see a lot of people post stuff on Facebook that's, let's just say that it lowers the energy, because people are very consumed with a lot of the crap that's going on. And they'll post it on Facebook, and they'll post their annoyance and their anger at it. And not just once in a while. I mean, I'll post the odd thing. I posted something yesterday, day before. It was a post that came up about the New Zealand Labour Party, and something that I did actually pay attention to that. Something's going on at the moment. But anyway, without going into great detail, because I don't know all the great detail. Oh dear. Anyway, I did actually share that post, okay, because I thought, no, there are some things that people need to have an awareness of, not for them to feel angry about it, but for them to think, to use their brain and think, okay, we must never allow this kind of brainwashing and this kind of control to happen in our country again. But I don't spend every day putting posts up about the economy and the cost of living and oh woe is me and oh my god, the world is going to the dogs. Yeah, it is, but let's try and increase the energy flow and find things in our life to be joyous about. Because believe me, there'll be something, no matter how small and basic it is. I look out of my window, now the sun's come back out again. It's coming through the clouds, the sea is blue. I can see a couple of beaches across the bay. It's beautiful. You know, could my life be better? Of course it could be freaking better. Everybody's life could be better, but do you know what? It could be a hell of a lot worse. I mean, look at me. I'm 66 years old. There are no filters here on my camera. I have no makeup on. In fact, I didn't put lipstick on either because I'm sitting drinking my coffee. But okay, yeah, I've got this going on. I've got wrinkles on my neck. But there are no filters here on this camera. What you're seeing here is me. This is me. Okay. And I have a lot to be grateful for. I've seen people that are several years younger than me that look 10 years older than me. And I know looks aren't everything. It's not about that. And I'm not trying to say, hey, aren't I beautiful? I am. You are. Every single person is. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And to me, I believe beauty comes from the heart. It shines from inside out. It's not how we look, but I'm a bit pale at the moment. Okay, I'm a bit pale and pasty. But I've been in a lot of pain with my shoulder, this one here. And I haven't been sleeping particularly well because I've had a lot of pain. But last night, I slept for 12. No, I didn't sleep for 12 hours. What am I thinking? I slept for a whole 7 hours without having to get up and go to the toilet. I mean, for a 66-year-old, that's bloody amazing. I also thank my Fix that I use for that too. It has helped. It's helped in that department. I've gone from getting up 4 or 5 times a night to, like, as I say, last night, 7 hours straight through, 5 minutes up to the loo, back into bed again. And I slept for another 2 hours solid without moving. It was amazing. So I needed that sleep. So I'm thankful for that as well. I'm thankful that I don't have insomnia. I'm thankful that even when I am stressed and worried about something or in pain, I find a way to be grateful for other things. So whilst my shoulder may be giving me some jip at the moment in my neck, it's okay because everything else is working all right. And it's taken my mind off the pain I was having in my knee because this hurts more. So I can be grateful that, everything isn't hurting. There's always something to be grateful for. I'm grateful the fact that I can actually get out of bed in the morning without feeling completely stiff and like I can't move. I'm grateful that I can actually dress myself. I'm grateful that I can look after myself completely without needing a carer, without needing help. And I know there are people my age that need help, need assistance. All right. Okay, there's still some stuff out in the garden that I struggle with, but I just have to pace myself and I get help when I need it. So, yeah, so find something to be completely grateful for in your life. Be happy in the moment. Is the world crashing down on Chrissy right now? No. It's not. So why should I worry that an hour from now, or 6 months from now, or 10 years from now, there's going to be a volcanic eruption that's going to fucking nuke us all? Should I worry about that? Hell no. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I'll deal with it. I will either get smacked in the head by a bloody flying piece of lava, or I don't know. It might never happen. There's a lot of volcanic activity, earthquake activity around the world at the moment. It's Mother Earth going through changes. It has been predicted. It's not global warming. It's been predicted for many years. Sadly, some people are going to be hurt by that, but there'll be a lot of people that are not. And one more thing before I go and finish my coffee, I might have to go and heat it up. One more thing on that. And this, it's really weird. This conversation that I'm having with myself that I'm going to share has gone down a completely different track from what I had intended. So I might end up doing another one. How long has this been? I might add it on. No, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Volcanoes. I was talking about eruptions. I was talking about what's going on in the world. Wars. That's what I was going to say. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, who's also my insurance man. Anyway, we were having a very interesting conversation about life, and I love having interesting conversations with people to hear what other people's opinions on life is at the moment. And it was really interesting because, as he said, we were talking about like the younger generation today, like our kids. I mean, my son's just coming up 25, and he has a very different outlook on life than I had at that age. Similar but different, if that makes sense. When I was 25, 24, 25, I was traveling around the world. I was on a cruise ship. I was having a ball, spent all my money, didn't save a darn thing, threw caution to the wind. I was just out there having fun, okay? And old age, retirement, yeah, that was a long way away. Thinking about saving for my retirement, that's never going to happen. I want to play. That was my mindset. I lived each day as it came. Okay. I mean, saying that, okay, it wasn't massive amount of money, but it wasn't that bad. I got paid, it was $500 a month, actually, which doesn't sound a lot. $500 a month was the flat pay that we got, and that was back in the 80s. But tax-free. Everything we purchased was duty-free. So all of our onboard living expenses, food, everything, it was all covered. Our bar bills, for goodness sake, my bar bill was my most expensive, was my biggest expense each month. And I wasn't an alcoholic. I know some that were, but we partied. But do you know what? Back in those days, a bottle of Bacardi rum, and I used to like Bacardi Gold, the good stuff, $3.50 a bottle, seriously. And yeah, so I think my bar bill was about $20 a month, which wasn't a lot, was it really? And anyway, so had very different priorities. Life was about living. Life was about, if I wanted to buy something and I had money, I bought it. Didn't have credit cards on the ship or anything. It was literally just the money that went into my account. I can't even remember how we paid for things. I can't even recall having a Visa card, or I don't know. Isn't it funny? I really can't remember. But anyway, money came in, money went out. Money came in, money went out. Lots of fun, great, no savings. Went back to England and life just went on. I had some great jobs. I earned money. I started saving up and going and having holidays, and then, you know, and then from there life carried on. When I talk to my son, and a lot of young people are like this today, they're kind of that belief, same thing. Retirement's a long way away. Don't have to worry about saving towards retirement. You know, that'll happen. It'll come maybe. But a lot of them are sort of also so uncertain about getting older. When I was young, it was normal. I knew that one day, you know, one day I was going to be 30, I was going to be 40, I was going to be 50. I had no idea what that was going to look like. And I had no idea how quickly it would come around. But I think a lot of kids with our uncertain world, they can't even imagine life at 30. So they're living each day for the moment because they can't see that far into the future. You know, never mind saving for retirement. They don't know what's going to happen in our world. But the conversation that we had was, look, I believe that we're all here in perfect timing. We're equipped to deal with whatever we need to deal with. And so are our children. Those people that have got babies now, some people would probably say, oh my God, why bring a baby into the world now? Because our world's going to end. Well, is it going to end? That's a very short-sighted view on life. And when you look back, my generation is very lucky. Most of us, apart from some countries where there are exceptions because there have been wars, most of us have never experienced war. But you look back at your parents and grandparents, depending on the age group. My granddad was alive during World War I and World War II. My dad was involved in World War II, but at the very back end. He didn't see any combat, okay? He was in the Navy, so he was on an aircraft carrier. So Dad was very lucky. He wasn't involved in any combat. Some of his brothers were not so lucky. One of his brothers actually got bombed on a ship in Singapore Harbor. And he never met his daughter, my cousin. His wife was pregnant when he went off to war. My dad wanted to go with him, but he was too young and wasn't allowed. So Dad had to wait. And then as a result, Dad ended up joining the Navy a little bit later. If my dad had gone with my Uncle Cliff, I wouldn't be here now. Not as Chrissy Taylor as I am now. You know, a lot of people saw war. A lot of people, there's still a lot of people alive today that were in the death camps in Germany, or well, in Germany, in Poland and wherever. You know, they've got stories to tell. Those people survived the Holocaust. There are people that the Ukraine war, Israel, there are people who are in that and survived. So why the hell are we worrying about the banking system falling over? You know, I think we have to make the most of what we do have from day to day and enjoy it. And whatever happens tomorrow, we'll deal with it. Why worry about something that may or may not happen? Will we have a civil war here in New Zealand? Who the hell knows? That depends a lot on our government, doesn't it? Which isn't that flash. Okay, a lot of people have completely lost faith in governments in whichever country you're in. It's usually the governments that cause all the crap. But is there any point sitting here worrying about it? No, there isn't. So get on with your life. Stop listening to the news. Stop falling for all the shit that's going on. Live your life. Live the best possible way you can with what you have. Be grateful for everything that you have. Love your family. Don't take them or anything for granted. Okay? Because one day they'll be gone. That's a fact of life. We're born, we die. And it's the in-between space that we have to make the most of, because we can create our own heaven or hell. Okay? There you go. I'm not going to talk about the other thing I was going to talk about. It was about families. But if you look on my Facebook post, you'll see it. I posted something that a friend shared, and I found it really, really interesting. Or was it? I don't know. It might have been a reel even. I can't remember now. But it was a Mel Robbins interview with a guy, and I recognize his face. I can't put a name to it. But they were talking about siblings and parents, and saying that our siblings have all got different parents. And it's like, that's a bit random. I'll tell you, eye opener. It was yesterday I shared it, and it was a reel, and it was absolutely brilliant. And oh my gosh, it made me completely understand my family dynamics with my parents and my siblings. And it really made me understand just why things worked out as they did. So can't blame anybody. No one's to blame. It's just the family dynamics. My parents were different parents to my eldest brother than they were to my middle brother. Totally different parents, because there were two and a half years between those two. So my parents' situation when they had my eldest brother was different from when they had their next son. Now, I remember saying to Mum many times, was I adopted? I was told not to be so stupid. But isn't it interesting that I picked up on those differences when I was just a girl, and I was shut down and told not to be ridiculous? But now I see it. My parents parented me. They were very different parents to me than they were my brothers. Why do my brothers act like they do? Because they were brought up in a different world, a different mindset to the way I was brought up. Oh, a bird just went into my window. My parents' situation changed. Their attitudes to life changed. Their life was so totally different when I was born, or as we were growing up. There's 9 years between my eldest brother and I. There's 6 years between the other one and me. And the living situation, the income situation, the economy, everything was different. When my eldest brother was born, that was, not too long after the Second World War. Things were different. He was brought up based on the life then. The other brother was brought up again with a whole different attitude just a couple of years later, but that's what happened. And then 6 years later, things were different again. And it makes so much sense. We did have different parents. Our parents had Mum and Dad had a different attitude with each of us. And if only we had known and understood that better, I think things in life would have been better. I think there would have been less of, it would have been different. So, I look back on it now. I tend not to talk too much about that stuff. I've let a lot of it go, and I've had to. But I can completely understand now why things are like they are. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. But, one thing that it's helped me to do by understanding this is understanding that no one really is to blame. It was attitudes, it was our upbringing, our personalities were formed due to our life circumstances through those years. And I am a very different generation to my siblings. That's not my fault. They need to bloody well know that. That's not my fault. That's not because I was different. I was brought up with a different attitude, a different mindset. Maybe it was easier, maybe, but then saying that, I had a lot of damn good hidings when I was a kid. That was back in the day when your mother or your father was able to give you a good, I mean, yeah, I got a lot, but I was always told that I deserved it. Did I deserve it? Or now looking back and understanding my mum's state of mind, my mum went through depression, bless her heart. She was angry. She had a bad energy a lot of the time. I seemed to wind her up. That wasn't because I was a naughty child or a bad person. And that wasn't because mum was a horrible woman. She was a beautiful, beautiful woman, but she had a short fuse because she was depressed. And when you've got somebody in the family that does go through that and they are really working hard to hide that and working really hard to cope with that, it's exhausting. And I know because I've been there myself. And when you are in a depressed state and your energy is low, you put on a face for the outsiders and people at work because it's embarrassing and you don't want them to know that you're stressed out and that you're depressed and that you're anxious. You do everything in your power to hide it. And then when you get home, guess who gets the brunt of it? Chrissy did in our case, because I was young enough. Mum couldn't take it out so much on my other siblings because they were a lot older. They weren't even at home when I was at home after school. So I got it. I got the whole shitstorm, but I didn't recognize it then. So, am I complaining? No, I'm not complaining. I am saying that I love my mum so much. And now I understand that. It just makes my heart go out to her even more, knowing what she had to deal with personally herself. And you know what? If she, by her taking out her anxiety on me, it had to go somewhere. I was equipped to take it. Okay? God made me strong enough to deal with it and to grow through it and come out the other side. So I am very grateful to my mum for helping me to be a stronger person. And I'm not angry with her or upset. I was when I was a child. There were times I hated her, and there were times she hated me. But now I understand the whole reasoning behind that. So, and yeah, interesting. But anyway, other things played out later. Not going to go into that. Don't need to go into that. But having an understanding of the family dynamic has made a massive difference. And it's allowed me to let go of a lot of stuff with with compassion, but also without guilt. Walking away from certain things and walking away from my siblings. Part of it was a choice. Part of it I felt pushed out. Part of it was a choice. 50-50. Doesn't matter. It's no point getting into the he said, she said, all this. It is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm very glad that I'm on the other side of the world. Let's just put it that way. And I have my parents to thank for the person I've become today. I actually have my siblings to thank for the person I've become today, because I have become very strong, very strong. And that's helped me to bring my son up a hell of a lot better than I could have done otherwise, because I didn't have their influence. So my son is very blessed. For a while there, I used to think that he was missing out, but I feel he is very blessed because he didn't have the influence of certain other people in the family that would not have been good. So everything happens for a reason. So, even when things get to a really difficult point in life, things will change. And at some stage, you will get an understanding. Well, I hope you do anyway. Something will click. And then you just are able to look at yourself, look at your personality, look at what helped you to get to where you are today. And if there's anything that needs changing, you will find that inner strength to recognize what needs changing within you. Some people have had a very different journey where, everything's been really quite cruisy, and they've gone through this flow in their life. No dramas, no family issues. It's just been like, wow. Well, you are very blessed. You are very blessed. I'm not jealous of that. Yeah, I accept how my life has been. There have been some amazing moments in my life that I've got so many happy memories, fun, adventures. I've done things that some people have never dreamed of. I've traveled. I've had an amazing life. And it's the amazing memories that outweigh the crap. I'm okay with the crap that I've had in my life because it's humbling. I believe it makes me a better person. And I'm still learning, and I'm still growing, and I'm still able to move forward in my life. And I hope you can too, whatever it is you're doing. So that was a very interesting one. I'm going 44 minutes. I really hope that someone gets something out of this video. I just felt there were things that needed to be said. So that's it. I might post this Friday, actually. This can be Friday's reflection. There you go. That's tomorrow, isn't it? I'll post it on Friday. It'll go on YouTube now, but I'll share it on my Facebook page on Friday. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend coming up. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's not, happy day. Take care. Lots of love. See ya.